Hello everyone and welcome back to the Football Insider Gaming channel. I am Connor Bromley and today we are going to give £1 billion to Darlington of the National League North, a team that is a little bit of a sleeping giant. They were in the League 2 in the Football League for a lot of years, went into real financial trouble, moved into a crazy huge stadium that basically shackled them to their eventual death, and now Darlington are sort of just stuck in the National League North, unable to get out of that division. They've had many false dawns, so I thought it would be interesting to give them unlimited money, essentially, to see whether or not over the period of 15 years they could get all the way to the Premier League. Certainly, I would hope they would get into the Football League system again. So all of that is coming up in this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel as well. Year one of Darlington having unlimited funds. Season finished 8th of all places in the National League North. Now, sometimes when I do this, I do realise in the first season that they don't actually spend all that much money. So I'm guessing in the second season, we'll hopefully see them get promoted. And we don't. We see them finish 7th. So much of a muchness first 2 years. No real progress. Local rivals South Shields get promoted ahead of them. Is it year 3 going to be the year where Darlington finally get out of the National League North? And it isn't. They finish 5th. They do get in the playoffs. Very disappointing though. I would have thought by this point they would already possibly even be in the Football League. We'll go forward another year. And they go up as champions. So it took them until the 2028-29 season to actually get out of the league. They finished with 96 points. They go up with Spennymoor, who are also a local team to them. But there we go. It has taken them longer than I would have expected. Let's see how they get on in the National League. In their first season of the National League, though, they don't disappoint. They go up as champions. They win the league, which I didn't see coming. They've obviously built up a good squad over the few years, and they've hit the ground running. They've got the momentum, and it's a promotion. So they do actually make it into the Football League by the 6th season, which I think is actually good going overall, even though it took them ages to get out of the North. But let's see how they get on in the Football League. Year 1 in League 2 sees 7th place finish, which is enough to get in the playoffs. Didn't go up. Carlisle won the playoffs, but yeah, that's a pretty good first season for Darlington in that respect. But can they get out of it and into League 1? In the following season, they finished 4th. They missed out on promotion by 1 goal. Very low goal difference totals, actually, this plus 10. But yeah, they miss out by a goal, losing out to Leyton Orient. And it's 7th placed Cambridge, who go up. So better and better. I think we could be getting a promotion in the next year. It's another playoff finish the following season, 2032-33. So since they came into this league, it is 3 failed playoff campaigns. Following season, can they get out of it? And no, it's a real regression down to 17th place, finishing pretty much 20 points away from the playoffs, much closer to the relegation. Which is a shame. Can they bounce back to the following campaign? They can. They finish 4th. They lose in the playoffs again. So 4 out of 5 seasons, Darlington have fell in the League 2 playoffs. So we're definitely, I don't think, going to make it to the Premier League in this simulation. The next campaign sees Darlington finish. Where are they? They finish in 17th. It took me so long to find them there. Wasn't expecting to see them as low down. Now, admittedly, they're only 8 points away from the playoff places. Much closer to that than what they were, the relegation, but disappointed with 17th. Can we finally get out of the league? 36-37 season, we can. We win in the playoffs. So what's that, like 5th time lucky in the playoffs for this Darlington team? They get out of it. They are into League 1. Let's see how they get on at that level. First season in League 1, and it is a 5th place finish. So into the playoffs in the first League 1 season. That's a pretty good run, really. Look at some of the big teams in here. West Brom are in here. Hull are in here. Wrexham are in here. You've got some decent pedigree sides at this level who Darlington are finishing pretty close to in the table. Let's see how they get on in the next season. Can they get the championship? No, it's a big regression down to 13th place. See Coventry City down here as well, a team that could be in the Premier League soon. 13th place overall, disappointing. So we definitely aren't going to end up This is the final season coming up, so Championship's the best we can hope. And it is a 16th place finish, and that's how we end the save. So Darlington overall, they get what, 1, 2, 3 promotions in this time, because every the amount of money they've got, that's pretty disappointing. I'm going to have a look through the results though, see if they've done anything of note in cup competitions. So we'll quickly go through the seasons and see if we won any trophies or did anything particularly interesting through the FA Cup to the 4th qualifying round, but out against Altrincham, and the FA Trophy to go out against Scunthorpe. So that's year 1, nothing really of note. Interesting to see if we've ever had a cup run at any point. And we go through Bury Town a win, but out against Guiseley, FA Trophy, out against Aldershot. Following season, let's see how we get on. And a win against Quorn. What an interesting name. Lancaster through. Beat Tamworth in the FA Cup first round. Beat Southend. Second round though, lost against Marine. God, that's disappointing. Could have made it in the third round of... Oh, it was the FA Trophy. So they're out in the FA Trophy against Marine. Out against Bristol Rovers in the FA Cup second round. No real shame in that. Following season, the 28-29 season. Any runs in the FA Cup? Yes, defeated Cambridge City. Out though against Oldham. FA Trophy, defeated Curzon, but out against Fylde. I think the next campaign is the promotion. Yeah, no, this is the season after winning promotion. So FA Cup through against Bury Town. Out though against Horsham of all teams in the first round proper. And if we look at the FA Trophy, out against Halifax. No real luck in the cup competition so far. And they're in League 2 now, so we're in the actual Carabao Cup. Through against Stoke City of all teams. And in the Virtue. So we've got to track the Virtue Trophy, which it looks like we've made it through. Out the FA Cup in the first round stage. Beat Crewe there. Third round beat Bolton. Quarter final beat Preston. Semi-final though lost against Reading. So we nearly got a Wembley trip in there. We'll also see how we got on in some of the playoff games as well. 1-0 against Mansfield, but out against Sheffield United in the League Cup. FA Cup, through against Hayes and Yeadon, through against Plymouth, defeated though against Bristol City. No real shame in that. Brian Brobby, of all players, playing for Bristol City. Interesting. And we'll keep going through. Next year, Carabao Cup through the first round, out in the second round against Burnley. No real shame in that. First round of the FA Cup, out against Blackburn Rovers again. No real shame in that one. And out of the Virtue Trophy against Chesterfield. And there we are, the playoff run there ends against Blackpool. Following campaign, through against Tranmere, then Doncaster in the Carabao Cup, but out against Southampton. No shame in losing to Southampton, who are probably in the Championship or the Premier League. We'll track the Virtue Trophy. It looks like we've made it through that competition. Played Bradford and out, defeated Carlisle. Here's the FA Cup third round. Stevenage knocked out is disappointing. Following campaign 34-35, not seen any interesting real runs in the cup competitions. One semi-final in the Virtue Trophy. Through against Port Vale in the FA Cup here. Out against Bradford though. Out against Barnsley in the Virtue. And in the playoffs, it was a playoff final defeat. Or playoff semi-final defeat, sorry. I thought we played Boston 3 times in a row there to end the season. Yeah, playoff semi-final defeat against Boston of all teams. The next campaign, out against Salford in the Carabao Cup. Virtue Trophy. Going to be touch and go to make it through that one. Looks like we're probably out of that. We defeated Oldham in the FA Cup first round. Lost against York there. Went through against Bradford in the second round. Third round, lost against Exeter of all teams. And 36-37 season. This could be the promotion campaign. 1-0 win against Blackpool here. Out against Rotherham. Let's see what we do in the FA Cup. Beat Gillingham. Got lost against Salford and Bradford in the cup competitions. And there we go. We won against Swindon at Wembley Stadium to get promoted to League 1. Let's see if our fortunes change in the cup competitions in League 1, and then we'll look at the managers. See who's been hired. A win against Grimsby, then Barnsley. Defeat against Preston though on penalties. Unfortunately, could have had a bit of a run there. in the Carabao Cup, through against Shrewsbury in the FA Cup, through against Chesterfield in the Virtue, but out of the FA Cup against Macclesfield of all teams, and out against Fylde in the playoffs, out on penalties against QPR, which is a real shame. Just 2 seasons to go now. Through against Mansfield, but out against Leicester City. No shame in that. So here we go in the FA Cup. Defeated Harrogate. Lost against Mansfield though. And there we are. In the final season, can we finally get some joy in the cup competitions? No, out of the Carabao Cup there. Virtue Trophy, looks like we've made our way through. Defeated Southend in the FA Cup. Macclesfield in the second round. Aldershot in the second round of the FA Cup. Third round win against Leicester City. That's exciting. Out of the Virtue Trophy. Let's see if we get on the FA Cup in a 2-0 exit against Everton, but no shame in that. And there we go. That just about sums up all the results. Let's look to see who has managed the club in this time, because it looks like we've had a serious amount of managers. So yeah, we forgot to say we put Pep Guardiola in charge at the start of the save as well, and he left. Craig Dawson was then the manager for 3 and a bit years. Darren Sarrell lasted not long. Joe Ward was in for a brief while. Sean Longstaff had a run. The former Newcastle player Callum Martin. Charlie Adam had a run. Stephen McManus had a run. And there we are. So a litany of managers. I did forget that I put Pep Guardiola in charge. That's quite funny. That we've only just remembered this at the end. So Pep Guardiola really struggled to get them out there actually, so you can't do it at these low levels. And there we go. Let's just quickly look to see how much money was spent. But it doesn't look like, considering the amount of money they have, they've not spent an absolute ton. We're looking through here. They've never spent more than like 1.4 million. Here's the most they've spent. It's in League 2. Yeah, like the spending's very, very low considering the amount of money they actually have. 2.5 million at this point. So this is when they're in League 1, finally flexing the muscles. I wonder if they'll start spending if we simulate it further. But anyway, there we go. That is Darlington. That is them. With unlimited money and Pep Guardiola to start the save. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel for more weird and wonderful simulations like this.